Hello, everyone. Welcome to part 2 of the series where we test Google Bard's ability to perform stock research and financial analysis. In part 1, we gave Bard the tasks of being able to describe NVIDIA's operations and revenue model, and also summarizing an earnings release from Amazon. In this video, we're going to task Bard with writing a market analysis on a specific industry, also screening a list of stocks based on our own custom query. We're scoring Bard's performance on a scale of 1 to 10, and when we're finished, we'll be able to provide a comprehensive analysis of Bard's capabilities when it comes to stock research and financial analysis, and how good of a tool it is for investors and investment professionals today. Let's get started with task number 3, writing a market and industry analysis. In this task, we're going to have Bard write a comprehensive market analysis on the cybersecurity industry. There's some statistics and facts that I want Bard to highlight, such as the market size, the growth rate, different segments within the industry, any relevant trends that are shaping the industry's future. I want a list of the key players, the largest companies, and their share of market influence. And I also want Bard to highlight some of the analysis metrics that investors might use in order to evaluate cybersecurity stocks. Okay, so Bard has started off with the market size of the cybersecurity industry, stating that it's $424 billion by 2030, growth being driven by a number of factors, including sophistication of cyber attacks, the growing number of connected devices, and increasing amount of sensitive data. That makes sense. Bard also highlighted different segments of the cybersecurity market, like network security, cloud security, data security, risk, and compliance management. Some of the key trends shaping the cybersecurity industry include use of cloud computing, IoT, again, sophistication of cyber attacks. Bard has provided a list of the largest companies in the space. This includes companies like Palo Alto, Cisco, Fortinet. With respect to financial and qualitative metrics to look at, Bard is highlighting revenue growth, profitability, cash flow, market size. For qualitative factors, management experience, customer base, market share, growth prospects. Here's some more facts here. For 2022, the cybersecurity industry was valued at $153 billion, projected to grow at 13.8% from 2023 to 2030. So average cost of a data breach, $3.86 million. Okay, so let's take a look at this and test it for accuracy. So I'm going to ask Bard to support this information with actual source data. So here's one of the documents that Bard got its information from. We do see here that its projection based on this document anyways was correct, $424 billion by 2030. Bard also stated expected compound growth rate of 13.8%. That was correct. One thing we do have to be wary about is the credibility of the source that Bard is using for this information. What I can say is that this information does look fairly accurate with respect to the cybersecurity industry, but there are a lot of market research firms out there that put out information which shouldn't necessarily be trusted. At least Bard is able to provide us with a link to its source, so we can make our own assessment with respect to how credible we think this data is. In terms of highlighting the market segments, I think that Bard did a really good job. In terms of highlighting the companies, the key companies, I think as well, I see most of the key companies here. Bard also did a reasonably good job at highlighting some of the key trends that are impacting the industry going forward. Where I think Bard really did not do a good job was in outlining some of the qualitative and financial metrics that can be used to evaluate the company. So these are certainly all metrics that you would use, but they're fairly generic. They're not specific to the cybersecurity industry. There's other metrics I would have liked to see here, like annual recurring revenue, deferred revenue, billings, number of accounts over, say, $1 million. So certainly there's areas where Bard could have improved quite a bit. For the industry and market analysis test, I'm going to score Bard a 9 out of 10. So this was a major improvement. Bard got many of the statistics right. It was able to also provide source links to where it got that information. It was able to identify the top companies that were operating in the industry, as well as some of the key trends that were driving the industry's future financial performance. Where BARD lost the point is on its list of financial and qualitative metrics to use for analyzing cybersecurity companies. It did provide me with a list, but this was a very generic list. It was not specific to cybersecurity stocks or even technology stocks, and I really think that BARD could have done a lot better. But overall, test number 3 was a pretty good result, so let's see if BARD can continue its streak. In this task, I'm going to use BARD as a stock screener. I'm going to ask it to provide a list of up to 5 stocks that are listed on North American exchanges and satisfy the following criteria. In this case, the criteria are going to be software technology companies that are focused on AI, are profitable with positive net earnings in the last fiscal year, have net cash on their balance sheet, and grew revenue by a minimum of 25% in the most recent fiscal year. I'm also going to ask BARD to return the list of companies in a table with the select financial data. Let's see if BARD is up to this task. Okay, so here we go. There are 5 companies listed on North American exchanges. I'm familiar with all of these companies. C3, Palantir, certainly AI-focused businesses. CrowdStrike is a cybersecurity company, and MongoDB is a database company. So in terms of the list, I think that the list is decent from the AI perspective. It would be a bit of a stretch to call it MongoDB an AI company, perhaps, but it certainly uses AI, as would CrowdStrike. What I'm more concerned about are the financial metrics that are provided and whether or not BARD satisfied the other criteria. I don't believe that C3.ai is profitable. BARD is saying that the company produced net earnings of $133 million in the trailing 12 months. I'm looking right now at C3's 2023 fiscal annual results. It's showing a net loss for the year, GAAP net loss of $2.45 and a non-GAAP net loss per share of 42 cents. So this was not a profitable company. I'll also note MongoDB as well. I don't believe that it satisfies the profitability criteria. Here's MongoDB's fiscal 2023 results. And right here, net loss was $345 million. They did report non-GAAP net income of $64.7 million, but that's still way off from the $1 billion that BARD is saying they reported. So I can continue to go through this. I think that there's other mistakes in the financial information here. For the stock screening test, I'm going to have to give BARD a 2 out of 10. This was actually a very poor showing. BARD did an okay job somewhat on satisfying the AI and software criteria, but I think it could have come up with much better companies, and a couple of the companies that it came up with, it was really a stretch to say that it satisfied the criteria. But where BARD really performed poorly was in the accuracy of the data that it provided on the companies. A couple of the companies weren't profitable, even though that was part of the criteria, and much of the data that BARD provided was completely false. What we saw BARD do here is called a hallucination. Understanding the concept of hallucinations is very important if you're going to use large language models like BARD or ChatGPT. A hallucination is when a large language model provides completely false information, but generally it does this in a way that's well presented and it makes the information look like it's very credible. A lot of people have been completely fooled and embarrassed by relying on information that was provided by large language models that turned out to be completely false. The lesson here is that when you're using AI, you need to personally confirm the accuracy of the data and don't just rely on the assumption that this data is true. This concludes part 2. Join us for part 3, where BARD completes the final test, which is performing financial statement analysis and comparing 2 stocks. We'll also be providing our final assessment and conclusion on BARD's financial analysis capabilities. If you're interested in AI for finance, then take a look at one of my other videos. Remember to subscribe and also like and comment on this video if you're interested in seeing more of this type of content. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.